everyone, and welcome back to another episode here at The Damage Report, bringing you a solid hour of news and possibly a bit of information about my shocking moisturization habits. It's gonna be me, and we're also very lucky to be joined after an unacceptably long break by Jason Carter. Jason, how's it going?
Hey, John, I'm good. Hold on, let me get in the good light here. You know, I'm black, I absorb the light. Okay, there we go. John, welcome back.
Great.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Apparently, your skin looks incredible from your rigorous moisturization. Which, by the way, more men, everyone watching right now, do not be afraid of moisturizing your skin, because that is the one thing that'll keep you from cracking. In addition to sunscreen. And John, I'm glad you got the memo. So you get a round of applause from me here in Miami on the moisturization.
Thank you.
I will slap Vaseline on my face very quickly.
I decided to up my game by moisturizing. No, I've been doing my face at least. I don't do everything. Like, what? Do you know how much there is of me? How much time do I have in a day? But I do my face, and that is after a solid lifetime of avoiding being outdoors. So I've avoided the sun pretty well as a result of that. A little bit of light coming off monitors, but I think that that's okay.
That's okay.
But anyway, you have been busy. You've got a new gig. You want to tell our audience a little bit about that and see where they can watch it?
Yeah, man. Well, as you guys know, I'm here in Miami. So I host a show called Inside South Florida for WSFL TV, channel 39 here in Miami, and also channel 11. Depends what provider you have, either AT&T or Comcast. But it's a daily lifestyle show. We talk about it all. We talk about health, fitness, entertainment. We have today, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We've had some incredible people and experts talking about the different ways you can protect your mental health and also different ailments of mental health. So it's just this amalgamation of really cool things. And we're trying to change the game of what lifestyle looks like, because I think, of course, with the last year, John, lifestyle, what is that? What's a lifestyle after COVID? What is a lifestyle? No one knows anymore. Lifestyle, it consists of me doing exactly what we're doing, hanging on my couch, drinking my, by the way, non-caffeinated drink.
What?
It's criminal. But it's water. It's water. So much like you're moisturizing, I am hydrating. So hey, we're doing something right.
Sure, I guess that's good, but you couldn't get caffeinated water. How can you say it's a lifestyle if it's not even life? And it can't be without a Monster. Neither of us have a Monster. I'm drinking decaf over here. But anyway,
right, you know what, John? In the stream, cut the stream now. No damage report today.
We're done. Anyway, I had two. No, come back. I had 2 caffeinated coffees already because I made the stupid decision of having an early morning workout. But anyway, very exciting. People should definitely tune in. And also, you know what? While you're here, stay tuned to this show because we've got an hour. We're gonna be going through some important news. What do the Republicans accept and what lies will they tell about the things they don't? We've got that in a couple of different areas, some important information there. Quick little update on COVID. Turns out getting vaccinated might make you rich. So stay tuned for that. Elon Musk tries to win me back. We'll see if he's successful in that effort. And Ellen, down goes Ellen, sort of, eventually. So I'm very excited to get Jason's commentary on that. So a lot that we're gonna be talking about. Thank you everybody for being here. Feel free to like the stream, share the stream, and then also let us know what you're thinking. You can send us questions, comments, tweets, super chats, all that, and we'll respond as we go. And with that said, you ready to do this, Jason?
Ready to go.
Oh God, am I though? I don't know. I always ask the guest. I never ask myself.
Well, you're the one who woke up at 6 a.m. this morning for a workout. So I mean,
that's a bad idea. Yeah, wake up at 5:30, sleep by noon. Anyway, with that, let's jump into this thing. The Republican Party was successful this week in their bid to boot Liz Cheney out of leadership because she said that the election was legitimate. Biden won, Trump shouldn't be president, and it's kind of scary that he's telling all these lies to get people to turn against democracy. So she said that, they booted her out. And even though that was obviously explicitly why she was removed from leadership, Kevin McCarthy wants to reassure the nation that this isn't fundamentally about accepting the results of the election. Here he is.
The conference will decide, but I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election. I think that is all over with. We're sitting here with the president today.
Okay, so I have some thoughts about that. Nobody is questioning the legitimacy of the election, but Jason, what do you think about that? And this is the first we've spoken since they were successful in canceling Liz Cheney. So what are your thoughts on all this?
My thoughts on Liz Cheney are this. I think she's gone scorched earth talking about, saying, standing by how she feels, and good for her, right? People, this leans on before we actually got to where we are today with the presidency, with Kamala and Biden being in office, and it's a done deal. That's what's happening, everyone. Here we are. That's the reality. People in the White House and people on the Hill were like, even though they were supporters of Trump and staunch Republicans, or had these really archaic views about what politics should be and their views on that, they're like, guys, no, the reality is that he lost. He lost. Anyone in their right mind, anyone that has two eyes and 2 ears and some common sense, also knows that, hey, it's a wrap on Trump. The election's over. Let's keep it pushing. So good for Liz Cheney. As far as how I feel about her, I don't. But I think there's something to be said about standing in your truth and being realistic and not being afraid to say what we're all thinking in a time where it's kind of dangerous to be that. It's kind of dangerous to be that honest. It's kind of dangerous to put yourself out there, because there's a myriad of different ways people can attack you, from social media to actually showing up at your house to actually, following you, trailing you. There's just a myriad of different ways that you can be in danger for being honest and true about what should be told that is honest and true. And of course, McCarthy is just being typical and trying to deflect and trying to save face. So, here we are. But again, kudos for Liz Cheney. And I don't think we've seen the last of her, even though she's been ousted. I love using that word. She was ousted, and now she's speaking out. She's breaking her silence. I do think that they love to use that, breaks her silence. But I do think we haven't seen the last of her. I think she's going to continue to keep speaking out on some platform.
Yeah, and I'd be fine with it being the last of her. But I was glad that she had this particular position, even if her motivations probably were not as pure as I would hope. But she said the right thing. And by the way, you were talking about the potential consequences. First of all, she's not the first person to be canceled for turning against Trump, so she knew that this was likely to come. Right. And we've seen in the past what happens when someone turns against Trump. He begins talking about them ad nauseum, emphasis on the nauseum, for literally years. And eventually someone whose hobbies include loving Trump and making pipe bombs takes an interest. That's what happens in America. So there is some danger to her. Well, John, certainly also in her career and possibly physically as well.
Well, career, right? Okay, so we've also seen on the flip positive money making, New York Times #1 bestseller side. She can go on and write a revenge novel, much in the vein of Omarosa or what Bolton also wrote one as well about their experience in Scaramucci. All these people have become, quite financially well off going that route, and I would love to see her unfold and reveal what her experience throughout all of this, because we can watch television and we can find there's different ways of getting the experiences of those people who have been adjacent or very close to 45 in that whole situation. But there's something to be said, John, about when they put it down in written word and really go in depth about what happened behind those closed doors, that just lives on forever, because the news cycle is going to go away. Liz Cheney is going to become something of the past, but those books live on and still tell the story and are also indicative of what really went down. And we can go back and say, okay, well, it's to me, it just has legs. It has more longevity, if you will.
Yeah, I think that there's gonna be some interest in that, but I would say to the publishers, it's gonna take her literally months to write or ghostwrite that thing. Well, in the meantime, my novel, which is about a mouse and a pangolin going on a magical adventure, is really a metaphor for the reshaping of the Republican Party. So you can snap that up and that'll tide you over until eventually her memoir comes out.
Wait, hold on, skirt. Anyway. You wrote a novel about, is this a young adult novel that that featuring vampire? What is this novel about, John?
Vampire. It's probably too violent for young adult, but since it's about animals, it probably should be. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. I'm nearing the end, so it's very front and center in my mind. But anyway, let's turn to a slightly different aspect of this, arguably as important as my magical fantasy with an animal. Anyway, when I word it like that, it sounds even worse. Anyway, Kevin McCarthy ridiculously tried to assert this week that nobody questions the legitimacy of the election. And I sort of knew that couldn't be right. It's hard to remember, but I remember there must have been somebody. So I did some research and I was I was snooping around. I think I identified something. I actually have photo evidence that there might be someone who kind of doesn't accept it. And so let's show you. Now it's a little bit hard to see. Can we zoom in and enhance quadrant? Yeah, there we go. Wait, a little bit more, a little bit more. No, not that close, not that close. That's too much. But you do see the mask at the very least. Trump won. That is a congresswoman wearing proudly what I hope is a custom mask that Trump won, which seems like it's bordering, it's dipping its toe in the pool of questioning the legitimacy of the election, Jason. It's right there, it's near it.
It's on the precipice of being right there. I won that mask was probably an Ivanka clothing line original that will not see the light of day because the clothing line is a wrap. Secondly, John, you know what? When we talk about the legitimacy of the campaign and the presidency, and okay, so fine, if the talk track and what's in news and people's feelings, even just outside of media, when you I was at a Publix here in Miami and I was overhearing two people in line really having this kind of nuanced conversation about if Trump won or lost. And I was trying to ear hustle, but I couldn't because I was holding too much coffee. But I would love to sit down with people who truly believe this and get factual and actual reasoning and things that make sense as to why they think he won, besides the sensational, very personally taken bitter diatribes of why they felt that the election was rigged or stolen. Like, where is this coming from? And if you can very calmly and so eloquently tell me why you think this with a logical mind, you may have like a dream of me even believing it. But you have these outrageous people that show up like this woman wearing that god-awful mask. Thank God she's wearing a mask. I'll give her kudos for that, doing your part for COVID.
That's true.
That makes no sense though. It's like, it's so baseless now. Even here in Florida, there are billboards on I-95 that cost thousands that are still saying Trump won. And I would love to climb up there and spray paint. Get over it, he lost. Get over it, but I can't do that because one, I'm afraid of heights. But it's just so bizarre to me, But hey, she's doing her part, I guess.
Look, and to be fair, it's obviously it's a little bit easy to say, hey, Marjorie Greene believes a crazy thing. Right. Well, yeah, that's what she does. I breathe air, she believes crazy things. But it really goes a lot deeper than just Marjorie Greene. So Kevin McCarthy says nobody questions the legitimacy of the election, but I'm going to, like Rachel Maddow, I'm gonna delve into ancient history to try to contextualize this all the way back to January when House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy was among more than 140 Republican members of Congress who voted to overturn state election results after the January 6th insurrection. So it wasn't just Marjorie Greene, it was 140 Republican members of Congress, including the guy who said that dumb thing. So you say you don't question the legitimacy of the election, but you did vote to overturn it. One would hope because you question the legitimacy. The alternative is that you didn't question the legitimacy, but you still wanted to overturn it, which seems worse actually. And so this is not just Marjorie Greene, this is dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of elected Republicans, including the guy telling the stupid condescending lie.
This is a clear as day example of selective amnesia, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to make sure that everyone that may be dealing with amnesia and things of that nature, I'm not poking fun at that as well. But honestly, this is what's going on. I'm waiting for John, and I know you guys watching right now are waiting for that Oprah Winfrey Apple Plus moment, Apple TV Plus moment with Trump and Oprah, where Oprah will interrupt him at every term because that's what Oprah does when she interviews people. But for Trump to tell his side of the story. I feel like people are still talking about this election. We've moved on, man. Even Biden, no one. It's almost as if no one cares anymore. The biggest news to me is the Kardashians ending. I care more about that right now than if the election is real.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But I'm saying we moved on. People are being vaccinated now. Jobs are coming back. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. There's so much more to worry about than this election. And for McCarthy to back in January when emotions were heightened and everyone, in which they should be because people stormed, it was insurrection and the the hens coming home to roost or whatever the term is back in January. Absolutely, that was a moment where we needed to be on the edge of our seats, that we needed to be alarmed, that we needed to be worried, and I can
sure
fine. But now it's like, dude, the receipts are there. Twitter's there. The receipts are there. Like you can't backtrack. And if you're worried about credibility, well, this isn't the way to be most credible. It's not the way to be the most credible.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's a good idea, the Oprah thing, but she's busy. I don't know if she has time for that. So I'll save her a little bit of time. If you want Trump's side of the story, it's available. You're citing these little like dinky social media sites like Twitter. No, the important social media site is from the desk of Donald Trump and his side of the story. And by the way, pay attention to this. Kevin McCarthy, the person who believes nobody questions the legitimacy. Trump's side of the story is, if a thief robs a jewelry store of all of its diamonds, the 2020 presidential election, the diamonds must be returned. The fake news media refuses to cover the greatest election capital F fraud in the history of our country. They have lost all credibility, but ultimately they will have no choice. He says it was stolen and something about jewels. I don't know. Maybe he watched Uncut Gems. But anyway, he's saying to this day that it is stolen. He is trying to convince his followers. He has certainly convinced all of you to fall in line. So it is very much still a problem. I don't know what the solution is, the solution to the problem of Americans believing convenient lies, but I think that we need to at least try.
Well, first of all, John, SNL needs to hire you to play Trump in season 47. Thank you very much. Move over Alec Baldwin. Here comes John Iadarola. Secondly, no, people aren't. I mean, from the desk of Donald Trump, I get it. But how many times did we get something from the desk of Donald Trump written by like the myriad of different comms people we had that was just garbage, was basura? So we're not here for that. I do think that a sit down though is gonna be that pièce de résistance in all of this for Trump. I really truly do. And it has to be with someone like, and not that this is part of what we're talking about today, but I'm just waiting for that. I'm waiting for that pivotal moment in media for the former president to really just be like, oh my God, like that bombshell, because that's what we need. Because now everything is just hyperbole and semantics. Really, it is.
Yeah. Well, look, we've got some more hyperbolic hypocrisy on a related topic to what we just talked about. But before we get to that, I do want to see what's going on off in the audience. The first super chat we have here is from T-Ness, who says, just give second shot of Pfizer today. But because I work in labor department in the Capitol buildings, I've chosen to never take off my mask. Probably not a bad call, especially indoors.
Yeah.
Money to Building says, I manifested you, Jason. I missed you and your amazing energy. Love the Witch Queen of Oakland Dragon. You're all right too, John. Great. But you've been manifested. That's why you're back.
I magically appeared.
Let's see. Brenda says, I'm wearing my green Dragon Squad shirt today as well. Feisty Ginger Dragon. No big deal. It's not bad. I'm hearing good things about the Dragon Squad 2.0 shirt. Nathaniel says, hey, John and Jason, fully vaccinated and celebrating 13 years of marriage. That is awesome. Susan and Earl, I believe. What's that?
I said, congratulations, that's cool. John, I just got fully vaccinated last week, man. That Moderna did me in. In the middle of the night, 4 a.m., chills, fever, sweat, dog licking me because I'm sweaty. It was just a lot. It was a lot. And whoever's afraid of needles, it's okay. I cried and had to have my hand held by my husband both times at Publix here in Miami. So I feel you. Needles, no. And if you're having an issue, we see each other. We see each other.
Wow, we're learning a lot today. That is, it's not talked about enough as a consequence for the vaccine is that you can, like I got lower back pain, you can get muscle aches, you can have a dog suddenly appear and begin licking your face. That's a weird one. Anyway, Dragon Dancer says, after 8 10+ hour days in a row, so glad to be off work and catching TDR live, missed by Dragon Squad the last few days. Welcome back, Dragon Dancer.
Welcome back.
And Goonidly says, I'm poor and have a weed habit. This is a lot of money for me. Well, thank you for cutting into your weed budget. We appreciate that. Oddly enough, it'll probably end up going back into that for us. Now, over in the members section at tyt.com, Curl Dragon says, listening while making soft pretzels from scratch. That sounds great.
Yummy.
I love a homemade pretzel.
With mustard sauce, get it.
I'll take it. Yeah, or maybe like dusted with cinnamon and sugar. Argo Libre says, took day off for dentist appointment, get to watch live. Then on to the physical and financial trauma that is dental care without insurance. Yes.
Yeah.
Yet another crisis, but thanks for watching. Okay. Adaris over on Twitch says it's odd. I think John has the voice down, but Cenk actually has Alec Baldwin's facial expressions down. Well, then we'll have to tag team it. And by the way, thank you to Funky Pug with not only the best name, but 7 months as a subscriber. I appreciate that. Diego subscribed for the first time. Welcome to the team. DJM subscribed for 4 months, and a Big Leb did for 8. Says always enjoy your show in the evening German time. That makes 2 German viewers sending in messages in just the first segment. That's awesome. That said, though, why don't we jump back into the news?
Let's do it.
It has become just a mark of loyalty to Donald Trump and the new direction of the Republican Party that all of what you saw on January 6th, that wasn't true. That wasn't what happened. It was just a normal day at the Capitol, or at least that's what lots of Republican lawmakers are saying. Here's a bit of a little montage was put together by Morning Joe of some of these statements recently.
It was Trump supporters who lost their lives that day, not Trump supporters who were taking the lives of others.
My constituents demand answers, but the truth is being censored and covered up. As a result, the DOJ is harassing peaceful patriots across the country.
So was January 6th an insurrection, or could it be more accurately described as a mob of misfits?
There was no insurrection, and to call it an insurrection, in my opinion, is a bold-faced lie. Watching the TV footage of those who entered the Capitol and walked through Statuary Hall showed people in an orderly fashion staying between the stanchions and ropes taking videos and pictures. You know, if you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
I don't think so, actually.
That's good at the end there. Just a normal tourist visit. Jason, I want your thoughts. Maybe we can bring up some of the shots that were taken while you're giving your commentary of that normal tourist visit from those rowdy misfits there in the Capitol.
Right, like it was a school field trip to the National Mall. No, John. First, okay. Everyone that gave their commentary in that montage was probably still mad about being like rejected in high school, middle school. And secondly, it is so for me being, and I'm going to enter race into this, and here's why. Because had that been a mob of people of color storming the Capitol, there would have been copious amounts of death there, right? And that would have been called an insurrection. That would have been called a mob. They would have been called a lot worse than misfits and just angry people. I mean, the footage speaks for itself. Those representatives in Texas and all these very conservative states are. If that wasn't an insurrection, then they are delusional. Then they are delusional. And I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Watching it, the camera doesn't lie. The images speak for themselves. Those are people that were enacting and exacting violence on the Capitol in the Capitol and on the Capitol grounds. January 6th. There's no way that you can spin that in the media. There's no way you can spin that out of the media. There's no way you can spin that in reality and in an everyday occurrence. That's exactly what happened. And what even chaps my hide for those from Texas, my aunt's from Texas, she says that, is the fact that the people who seem to have an issue with it, or seem to say, or want to proselytize us into believing that that wasn't an insurrection, or what happened on January 6th wasn't exactly what we saw, are what I would think very intelligent and smart people, some of them even Ivy League educated, that know better. And what do you, and honestly, what do you get by lying about that and saying it's not what it was? What do you get? What do you have to?
I can think of a few things.
Like what?
You get Donald Trump to potentially like you and support you. You get the vast majority of the Republican base that believes to this day simultaneously 2 things. One, that what happened at the Capitol wasn't that bad and everyone's exaggerating it. And also it was terrible, but Antifa did it. So they do believe that. And they do not want to hear anything contradicting that from anyone who wants to call themselves a Republican. And so if you, like, all you have to do in most of media and in politics these days is just tell people the lies they want to hear. And this is the lies that they want to hear. They want to hear that that was a normal day for tourism. Look, I have to admit, I've been to DC several times. I've never actually toured the Capitol. Maybe that is what it's like. Maybe I wasn't missing much. Maybe it's people with guns and fire extinguishers. I don't know. I haven't been there.
John, it's not. But and you know what would be refreshing, is if one of those people who says that it's not what we saw actually says, "You're damn right. We stormed the Capitol, and here's why we stormed the Capitol. And you know what? We might do it again." I would respect that a lot more. At least they're being honest and they have convictions. They have conviction in how they feel. Yeah. That I can respect. We're not all gonna agree, clearly, as we've seen being Americans in our lifetime. We're not gonna agree on everything, but I can respect someone who stands in what they believe. And they do that respectfully, much more times than not they don't. But they're like, hey, it is what it is in my eyes, and here's why I see it that way. And as an evolved species, as we are all trying to be, I can say, okay, well, I see where you're coming from. I don't disagree. But when they try to lie to us and pull the wool over our eyes, as they always do, that's infuriating. Just be honest with it. It was a violent mob attack by Trump's base because they were pissed that he lost. Point blank, period. And people you can accept that and stomach that and then move on from that. But to continuously lie about it, it's just even more infuriating than just being honest. Than honesty. Honesty is always the best policy with me, and I'm sure a lot of people watching at home probably feel the same way.
Probably. That said, you just said something very controversial there, because you said it was a violent incident by Trump's base. You stated that as if it was a fact. Not everyone accepts that. Here is a video of Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina.
When I see this sheet on our timeline, and on the, let's see, okay, at 2:07, a mob of Trump supporters breached the steps. I don't know who did a poll that is Trump supporters. You had the media saying the same thing, just like.
Okay, so first of all, let's put up the photos. You're gonna see a lot of, I think our producers gave us this photo to try to prove that it's Trump supporters. That just proves to me it's Mert supporters. I don't see anything about Trump, I just see Mert. But anyway, yeah, no, that's why we believe that, well, that's one reason we believe it's Trump supporters. First of all, because they were flying his flag. Second of all, they seem to like red hats, suspiciously. Number 3, they went from a Trump event to go to the Capitol, attack it. Number 4, they went to DC in the first place because Trump and Republicans were promoting it for literally weeks leading up to it. Also, many of the people who've been arrested are very vocal supporters of Donald Trump on social media. They talk about their support for him. No, there was no poll, but all of the evidence is incredibly clear.
It's incredibly clear. I mean, John, we connected the dots here on the damage report. I think the last time I was here on the show with tweets about leading up to what was gonna happen on January 6th. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's just like, let's just be honest about it and stop trying to play the American people as idiots, And we fight so hard to make our way through this murky water that is politics that has been the last 4 years, right? Because every day we're inundated with some kind of conspiracy theory, more news about this. Just we're always being thrown a curveball and being thrown to left field when it comes to politics in our country. So and it's disrespectful. We shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to fish through what's real and what's not. We should be given the cold hard truth, be it if we don't like it, or if it's nice or it's not nice. We should still be entitled to that as American people, because I think we've earned that. So for these people in North Carolina and in Texas and in Mississippi and in Alabama and all these states that have been openly historically about their views about their conservative views, which they are able and more entitled and very well entitled to have those views. It's like, okay, cool, but just quit BSing us. Like, just stop, just stop. We're not dumb, and we know what's up, and the jig is up.
Yeah. I agree 99% with what you said. The 1% was a correction from someone in the audience who says they're not murky waters, they're murdy waters. There's a lot of murd out there these days.
We'll take it.
Anyway, okay, let's go to a slightly different aspect of this though. The months-long attempt to rewrite what happened on the Capitol 6th has been horrifying from the very beginning. The idea that the supporters of a political party would storm a government building to assassinate leaders and try to overthrow the results of an election. And then because they failed, even though they were joined in that effort in a different form by Republican legislators, then the Republicans get to just play PR for them for months. All of that is horrifying, especially when they try to imply that there was nothing violent about what happened. Well, it very much was. And New footage should not be required. We've already seen so much. But that said, there is some new body cam footage that I want to show you.
There is a scuffle with the insurrectionists. He's tased, and you hear him screaming as one of the insurrectionists says, "Got one."
I got one. Easy. Don't go up there. You're gonna get hurt. Bring him up. I got you, man. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't say it. Leave it. You good? What's your name, man? I got you, man. All right? I got you, man. Which way do you want to go? Go back inside. You want to go back inside?
Jason, that is just horrifying.
How can you not get emotional watching that? You know, like how can you not sit and like see someone like pleading for his life, right? Because his job is to protect people, John, right? And so you have these people that are like these Bobby Johnny Davids that are just like, I got one. And then the dude says, I have kids. Like, well, I'm sorry.
That's what you say when you think that you're about to be killed and you're trying to stop people from murdering you.
100%. I don't mean to get emotional. It's just like I think about my brother who's in the service, and these people who give their lives to protect us, and because these douchebags feel a way about an election, something that happens every 4 years, and I get it in politics. Yes, politics has an effect on all of us, guys. It does. But if you just really strip away what politics is, it's never worth someone's life. You know, like it's never worth someone's life. And so then also someone comes in to try to help this guy up. Guaranteed, he woke up that morning not thinking that was going to be how his day was going to end. And praise God that I think he's still alive. I'm not sure what happened after the video. He's still alive, but it just infuriates me that people think that that's okay. I can't even articulate what I'm feeling right now watching that, but it's hyper infuriating.
Yeah, well, I think what you're feeling is what basically every rational, sane person with an ounce of empathy feels. That was Officer Michael Fanone. He suffered a heart attack and a concussion. He's now dealing with a traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
Of course.
Pretty reasonably, because he thought that he was in the process of being murdered. He was screaming in agony. He was begging and pleading with that insane murderous crowd to not kill him. And thankfully, some of the people there stopped the others from killing him. That's their people though. Like, have they turned against the movement? Do they think, oh my God, what are we doing? Like if I was in a crowd of Bernie Sanders supporters and then some of them started killing people and I had to stop them, I don't think I'd get the victim away and then say, okay, let's go back to pushing for Medicare for all. I would have a few questions about the people that were in that crowd at that point.
100%.
But remember, Jason, what you just watched was a normal day at the Capitol, like as if tourists were there. The officer seems to disagree. He seems to have had a day that was anything other than normal. But all of that is known. That body cam footage is new, but Michael Fanone has been talking for months about what happened to him there. And now there are Republicans who have much more high profile, access to the media whenever they want, that will lie about it, that will pretend that incredible, horrific suffering that he just experienced, and it will have effects on him for God knows how many years,
right,
didn't exist because it's convenient to them politically to pretend that.
And how re-traumatizing, John, is that? Not being believed and made to seem like you're a liar, when, as we just saw in that video, his life he could have been critically injured, and that's like, hey, the lesser of the two very evils, or murdered, and his two kids would be not have a father, and his wife would be a widow.
Yeah. But they're just gonna keep lying, and like they tried every way that they could to overturn the election. If you want to, if like maybe you're just a really optimistic person, if you want to believe that was a one-time thing, and when they lose more elections in the future, they won't do things like this, that they won't overturn it if they somehow can, well, you can choose to do that. But I would say that the public relations campaign that's being waged by right-wing media and Republican politicians to protect the people you just watched in that video is all the evidence you need to know that was just the opening blows of the war on democracy. Okay, we're gonna read a couple of super chats so that we can sort of clear ourselves out before we move to other news that will not be as dark in some ways, so that's good. That said, let's see. Mr. Anderson says, could you give us a preview of the main protagonist of your novel and how violent is it going to be? It is very nice of you to ask. Right now, I'm not gonna burden everyone with that, but I'm sure at some point I will give some details. I like little teases from time to time, but thank you for asking. Let's see, POC Discourse says, Mira, I traveled from Colombia to be vaccinated, Moderna, the second shot today, fully vaccinated next, hopefully, people of Colombia. Great show, thank you. Glad to see that. Someone in the pre-show was saying that now in Brazil, people that are only 50 years old can now get the vaccine. And I just thought, we're letting people who are 12 in America and people who are at elevated risk of dying not that far away still can't get it. Okay, TechStan says, someone should hack the From the Desk of Donald Trump website and change the font to crayon. Pretty good. The Progressive Carpenter says, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm disappointed in both of you guys. Now I have to try and enjoy my highly caffeinated energy drink by myself. I was expecting two monsters. Love when Jason is on the show.
Aw, thanks guys.
That's good, that's good. Marie G says, a warm Canuck hello to you too, John. I really hope your time away is restorative. You so deserve it. Jason is such a treat with a shocked and then a winky face. Okay. Thank you, and I'm sure that it will be. Trans Dragon says, just hello for narcissistic reasons, well worth $10. Thank you, Trans Dragon, I appreciate that. Jackie Elliott, thank you. Non-Human Humanist says, a big hug to Jason. Very nice of you. Argo Libre in the member section says, great bunch of patriots, not terrorists, geez. Sarah says, that's Rich from Ralph Norman. He pulled out his concealed weapon on his constituents who wanted to talk to him about gun control. I did not know about that story. That is crazy. Okay, Argo Libre says, living in DC area, we were warned about 2 days of potential violence. Don't let them tell you they didn't see this coming. They had permits for a 2-day event. That is totally true. And then over Twitch, Z Huddle gifted one sub, thank you for that. Wasabi Dragon gifted 6, thank you. Samuel and the Kind Dragon gifted 5. Holy Beer Dragon gifted 5 as well. There's been like, that is awesome. People have been great ambassadors today. And I believe the reason is that we have this threshold that we have to reach of total numbers of subscribers. And you might ask, well, why do we have to reach that? Well, apparently, until we do that, we don't open up another spot for an emoji. And there is a great deal of interest in a Jason emoji. Well, that's how we get it. We need some more subs, unfortunately, and then we can have Jason immortalized in emoji form.
I'll take it. I'll love an emoji.
And that would be great. That would be great. Arguably, we could get rid of one of the others and slot you in there. But let's see if we can reach the threshold first.
The more the merrier.
The other one will be Plan B. Let's see. Limitless says on Twitch, Jason's humanity is so rare in the news. Thank you. 100%. Frankie says, I can't wait for TDR hot tub stream. No, that is not gonna happen anytime soon. Let's see. By the way, we got a great tweet at #TDR Live from Megan saying, my cat getting comfy. It's a photo of her cat. And I see your copy of Twilight Imperium there. I see your board games. Anyway, with that, why don't we jump back into the news? From the very beginning, different governments around the country have been trying to incentivize people to get vaccinated. In some parts of the country, you could get access to Krispy Kreme donuts if you prove that you've been vaccinated. In others, there's free coffee. Well, as interest in the vaccine has dipped a bit, the rewards have had to expand as well. And now, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced 5 weekly drawings of $1 million open to residents who've received at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. A similar lottery for teenagers will provide the lucky names with a full 4-year scholarship to a public university in Ohio, room and board included. That's nice, but I'd rather have the $1 million than whatever it is that gets you 4 years public college in Ohio. I'm sure it's a lot, but I ain't $1 million. But anyway, Jason, this is what it has come to.
Fine, I'll take it. Like, hey, well, okay. I'm so if I had been an Ohioan, or if I was an Ohioan, I'm so unlucky. Like when I used to go to the casino, I would owe the casino money because that's how unlucky I was. So I probably wouldn't win either of them. But in theory and the idea, it's incredible. I think it's very, very laughable that we have to incentivize people to get vaccinations after if we chart back to this time last year, or maybe a month ago, 2020, March through May were just like dismal, right? The news, deaths, you couldn't get toilet paper, PPE, food, everything was just, it was like the end of the world. It was I Am Robot waiting to happen. And so now that with the ingenuity of humanity, a year later, we have vaccines, like we can go back out, we can go work out, we can go roller skating, it's great. People are still not wanting to do it. And I understand, back to what we're talking about being afraid of needles, or maybe just the availability of vaccinations in their area aren't as copious or available as they are in other parts, like in Los Angeles or here in Miami. But to have to incentivize people with $1 million is just like, cool, okay, fine, it's $1 million, but just go get the vaccine. Like, just go do it. And who's gonna win that? Because you know what, lotteries though, just like when you play the Monopoly game at McDonald's, there's all these like hidden, small fine print that this is 1 in 900 billion chance of you winning this, So no one's really gonna win those prizes, if you will. I don't think.
Well, the odds are still low, but get in while you can. Nearly 42% of Ohioans have already received 1 dose of a vaccine. That number's probably gonna go up. So it's weekly. You want it right now. Yeah, you're totally right. Like I stood in lines to get into supermarkets and stuff like that. I bought toilet paper from China off of eBay. And like the idea that at that point, like, oh God, everything's changed. The world is falling apart. And in 1 year, you'll have to give me $1 million for me to be totally immune to this whole thing. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Why do you, it's medicine. That's the reward. Like, what do you need? 50,000 for the measles? 100K for polio? How much do you need to be free from disease?
Right, like, hey, we'll throw in a bonus 50 grand if you get the flu shot. But look, over 150 million Americans have already been vaccinated. I'm not sure what the numbers are in Ohio, but I think what needs to be incentivized is the follow-up vaccine, because I talked to Dr. Oz earlier this week and he had said that people are forgoing the second shot because either they don't want to do it, they forget, or they feel because of herd immunity may be a thing, and that the efficacy of the J&J, the Pfizer, the Moderna is pretty good, that a second shot isn't whatever. But now the CDC is saying that no, within the next 20 months or 12 to 20 months, booster shots are going to be needed for these new variants that are emerging from the UK and across the pond. So I could see Ohio incentivizing for that. But just to give them that millennial trophy of you get a prize for just showing up is ridiculous. They should put that $1 million to something else that could help the economy or something. I don't know.
Sure. Look, I kind of disagree. I think this is ridiculous, but I think it's ridiculous that it might be necessary. I don't think that Governor Mike DeWine is the villain here. He's almost always the villain, but I don't think he's the villain here. Because apparently you do need $1 million drawings to incentivize people. But if we can go a little bit dark for a moment, here is the comparison I want to make, not just from how we felt about the virus a year ago to now needing to be paid so much money to be free from it and be able to go back out in our life, but also the current state. Because in America, we need to juice you up with $1 million to get you to take your free medicine. And data showed that at least 4,200 people died from COVID-19 in India over the last 24-hour period. And that's just the recorded numbers, which are not, of course, accurate. Dozens of bodies washed up on the banks of the Ganges this week, most likely the remains of people who perished from COVID-19. People are dying because they don't have oxygen. People are dying and just being found in rivers. Thousands of people are dying every single day. And in America, we need to give you donuts and maybe $1 million to get you to take the vaccine that I have a feeling a lot of people in India would love to have right now. So
and are dying literally to have right now, John. Thank you for highlighting this stark example of the privilege we have here in the United States, and about being able to have. They always say that when you're able to make a choice, you have the privilege of choice. And it's never lost on me how in 2021 and with all the advances, with everything that we've done, just going back to the vaccine, a year ago, I remember watching TYT, you and Anna talking about the possibility of a vaccine and how long that may take. And it seemed like they were estimating 2.5 years, maybe 3 years to have a vaccine for COVID-19. And here we are 15 months later, fully vaccinated, people fully vaccinated. It's like now they have vaccination field trips. People get together, go get vaccinated together, right? Yeah. And so with that said, I bring that up because the ingenuity and the resiliency of humanity when we want to get something done to return to our incredible lives of football and outdoor activities, we get it done. But yet, people that don't live in progressive, I would say communities or progressive that have the infrastructure to be progressive, like in India, where bodies are just floating around in this river, which is also a biohazard. Why can't we help them? Why does their experience have to be that when we've already solved the problem? Why can't we make them part of the solution? Why is that? It just blows my mind that we haven't found a solution for that. We can find a solution for everything else though. And they're humans, they deserve a chance, right? They shouldn't be dying to have a vaccine. They should be living because of the vaccine.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure we'll help out at some point. And how many people will die between now and then? If 4,200 are being reported to have died, and it's way higher than that. That's every day. That's I'm not great at math. 28,000 a week. That's more than 100,000 a month, and that's the incredibly conservative number. So if we wait a year, if we wait 2 years, how many millions of people are going to die?
Right.
Now, if we can really lighten it for just a second, sometimes I see tweets and I wonder if the tweet is dumb or if I'm dumb. And so here's the tweet. This is from ABC News and it says, "New. There appears to be a correlation between the rate of vaccination in a given state and the decline in the number of new COVID-19 infections." I just thought, well, yeah, isn't that the whole idea? Like, are they being like stupidly obvious, or is there something that I'm missing about that? Like, yeah, nobody saw that coming, that people being immune to the disease would have less of it. I don't know. Am I being an a-hole? No. I can't tell. Maybe it's important that people know that.
I guess, sure. I mean, hey, we're always asking for transparency and clarity when it comes to these numbers of COVID-19 and the experience of COVID-19 and what it can do, what it's done, and the future, et cetera, et cetera. I watch way too much COVID-19 updates, news updates. But no, you're not dumb, John, because I would have probably thought the same thing too. Always go with your first mind. Always go with your gut. You're not dumb, but also, the question you should be asking is not if I am dumb. Is if the people in ABC's and Disney and ABC's social team, are they dumb? That's the question you should be asking.
Look, the study came out I guess maybe they like charts as much as I do. So I don't want to get overly mad at anybody. Maybe newsrooms are very concerned about the level of scientific literacy, and they want to keep it real obvious and real basic. I don't know. But yes, you get more vaccines, you'll have less COVID. California has like the highest vaccination rate, I think. That's what I heard, and I choose to believe it because I live there. And we have very little COVID. LA has a couple of hundred cases a day. That's it. And even that is trending down. So yes, this makes sense. Thank you, ABC News.
States like New Mexico, which is considered to be one of the poorest states in the union, they have high numbers of vaccination. I think people are. I'm glad. I'm very glad, very hopeful, and also just relieved that we've been able to make such strides in the last 15 months. Because I go back to this time last year, it looked like the end of the world as we knew it, man. Like we're gonna have to get like guns and like zombies, machetes, and just I don't know. Like
there's still time.
Yeah, it was pretty bleak. It's very bleak.
Yeah. The zombies came first for the state houses and eventually the Capitol. And by the way, I made a jokey offhand comment about it making you immune. Obviously, the vaccine does not make you immune. I did not want to imply or mean to imply that it makes you immune. It does not. You should still get it though. Okay, that said, let's jump into, we don't have much time and there is no way we're not getting to this E block with the limited time that we have with Jason. So we're gonna jump into the D block. Save your conspiracy theories. We sometimes do get to the D block, and we're gonna jump into this right now. Wait, no, sorry, no. I want to do it in order. We're gonna do the D block, and we're gonna make time, but we're gonna get to the D block. Yeah, thank you. If you've been watching the show over the past week, it's pretty clear that I have a bit of an issue with Elon Musk for all of the obvious reasons. But that said, is it possible for him to change and to do good things? Probably not, but we're gonna look at the evidence. When it comes to Elon Musk and cryptocurrency, he is one of the biggest boosters. They did all these jokes on SNL about it last week. He's been a booster of it. He directed Tesla to buy $1.5 billion in Bitcoin just earlier this year. And he tweets about it and he steals people's memes and posts about it and all that. But that said, he might be changing. He posted this comment on Twitter. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, I doubt that. And we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at a great cost to the environment. So they're not gonna be selling any Bitcoin. They're not gonna intend to use it for transactions anymore. And all of that stuff. They're also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of the current Bitcoin energy per transaction. So he is implying that they are very much changing their tune when it comes to cryptocurrency. What do you think about that, Jason?
I'm not sure if of course, there's always pressure applied from people, and of course the conversation in the zeitgeist on environmentally safe and sustainability and all that's always going to be paramount. It's always going to be something that people are talking about. But we can't fault Elon for maybe getting greater later. Okay, maybe SNL, maybe Lorne Michaels had a conversation with them at SNL and said, "Look, Lauren, you better fall in line. You better get it together, brother." But no, seriously though, I
doubt.
I don't think A.D. Bryant pulled him aside, or Michael Che or Colin Jost said, "Listen, man, if you forget cryptocurrency, okay?" But
I think Cecily could get through to him.
Or no, I think Ego Wodum. Yeah. She probably said, "Look, homeboy, this is what we're doing." Or Keenan.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, but whatever. Like I said, some people can get greater later. I don't. Elon Musk is one of those people though that much like I would say, and I just go with me on this equation, okay? Like Beyonce, Oprah, and people that have the power to influence very quickly. Elon Musk is one of those people, believe it or not. Even if we don't like him or not, and I bring up Beyonce because Beyonce, she could put out a phrase like flawless, and all of a sudden it's everywhere. People are calling everything flawless because they have that kind of power and that kind of sway in pop culture and in their respective fields in pop culture, right? So Elon Musk, people revere him as one of the greatest minds of our time, regardless of how we feel about him, regardless of how we feel about him personally and his relationship with his baby mama, all that. he's still someone that people think, okay, well, he's done very well. He's a genius. So if he can say, hey, we're gonna put the full stop on something that may be, or is apparently, of course, not beneficial for the environment or for a myriad of different things, then cool, I'm with it. And again, maybe he's getting greater later.
Maybe, we'll see.
Maybe.
I have 3 things that I want to say. One, I want to point out one thing that he said and give him credit for, because as I said, he mentioned in that statement, the energy, I still have 3 things. The energy, a rise in energy consumption. So let's go to that graph. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit. And you can see that it has been shooting up very recently during the course of the pandemic, actually, in his little chart. Don't expect to actually read the numbers. I know it's too small, but it is true. Please don't at me about it. It's true, don't at me. I don't care. Even if it were true, I'd still hate Bitcoin, but it's definitely true. But anyway, now the interesting thing was that after his announcement, that hurt Tesla very slightly. I think like 1% of their stock value or something like that. But it hurt the cryptocurrencies way worse. So here is, I believe this is actual Bitcoin. So that dropped quite a bit. And then Dogecoin fell 15% after already falling because of the stuff that happened on SNL. So I will just say, as many people have said, if one dude tweeting can tank a currency, maybe it's not the best currency. I understand it's complex. I don't think it should be that volatile.
It should not be that volatile. And what's interesting, John, is that here in Miami, our Mayor Francis Suarez, is an incredible guy who's really getting behind. Last December, he had a tweet that went viral because one big tech company had said, hey, we're thinking about moving, making other cities in the United States a tech hub. And he responded like, hey, well, we're ready to help you out. Miami's become this very, I would say, Miami has all eyes have been on the city about it being the next blockchain cryptocurrency, having that be a new way of life here. But it does seem very volatile, right? It's not regulated. It seems like, and everyone, it's hard to understand. I'm sure if you do your research on it, it's hard to understand. But I can go to Wells Fargo and go to these different banks and know what's going on and know where my funds are going and transactions with stocks and whatnot, and cryptocurrency and blockchain and all that. To me, and I think I'm a smart guy, but to me, it's like, what are we doing? Okay, what is this? Like, what is this? And is it real? Like, is it tangible? Can I feel it? Can I touch it? Like you have all these questions and the volatility. We're always trying to protect every red cent we have because they're hard to come by. And in an instant, like we've seen with these charts, poof, gone. Poof.
Yeah, so what happened to the people who bought a bunch of Dogecoin Friday night before SNL, expecting that he was gonna do a meme in real life and it was gonna shoot up in value? Well, they just lost a ton of money over the past week. People who trusted Dogecoin or trusted Elon Musk, or more likely are just really economically desperate and are looking for some sort of easy solution, and they're being sold the idea that cryptocurrency is an easy solution. After all, everybody knows somebody who made a ton of money off of it. So clearly I must be the next person, but not so much necessarily. A lot of people lost fortunes. He's probably doing okay. But anyway, the volatility is my number 1 comment. My number 2 comment is, for the love of God, please stop advertising to me about cryptocurrency. I don't want the ads on Twitter about the guy saying, you can morning, noon, or night, you can make hundreds of transactions. I don't care. I don't care about your metal card powered by crypto and YouTube ads. I'm so sick of that ad, I'm gonna lose it. Cryptocurrency, the best money we've ever had. No, it isn't, and I really don't want your ads. And by the way, this is true of cryptocurrency and a lot of things. If you are constantly being advertised to about how easy it is to get rich off of it, you should be very worried. Because if it was that easy to get rich off of it, they'd be doing that, not trying to get rich off of telling you how easy it is to get rich off of it. It seems like they found something easier than just investing in cryptocurrency. So that's my number 2 thing. My number 3 thing really fast is, I don't believe it. I don't believe that they've turned against cryptocurrency permanently. I hope that I'm wrong. And they say they're not gonna be selling any. Do we know for sure that they didn't sell any before he made this comment and it had the predictable effect? No, we actually don't know. Now, we probably will know in July. That's when reporting cycles, blah, blah, blah. We might know, but it is possible that this guy who cares more about money than anything else sold off his cryptocurrency, says something that causes it to bomb, will then buy up a ton of it, and it will gradually go back up to where it was at, and he'll make 300 billion more dollars or whatever. I don't know. That's just a speculation, but I'm a little bit worried about it. And I would just say anything having to do with Elon Musk, take with a grain of salt, pump the brakes a little bit.
Pump the brakes. I agree, and I think cryptocurrency, like I said, here in Miami's on the verge of being this really cool tech hub that's ushering a new way. And I think it's incredible that the mayors here and the people are trying to open our eyes to all the possibilities that can improve our way of life down here in Miami and in any city. So I think there's something to be said about crypto, blockchain, and all of that. But it's just more education needs to be available, and if we're being inundated with Bitcoin stuff now, because now look, Alexa's listening right now. She's probably gonna like every email and everything's gonna be like Bitcoin going outside or around my house. But I do think that you gotta take it with a grain of salt, especially from Elon Musk, who remember the Cybertruck, and he threw the rock at the window. It's indestructible. It's made from adamantium and vibranium, and it cracked. It's like, okay, man, well, we'll revisit that. Same thing with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Yeah, don't make your financial security the second window in that demonstration. Anyway. Okay, that said, we are going to roll right into this last story, and we're gonna have to streamline this a little bit, but Ellen DeGeneres announced this week that she is going to be ending her program, which has been on for 45 years at long last, but not because of all of the allegations that have come out recently. And in fact, today she had a little bit of an interview talking about some of her reasons, so let's take a look at that.
I mean, it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy. I just kept saying to Portia, I was like, if I was a fan of somebody, and even if I loved them, I would think there must be some truth to it because it's not stopping. And then right on the heels of that, I read in the press that there's a toxic work environment, which, I mean, I had no idea, never saw anything that would even point to that.
Did you feel like you were being canceled?
I mean, I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. It was too orchestrated. It was too coordinated. It was really interesting because I'm a woman, and it did feel very misogynistic. It felt like I am a boss. I have a very successful show. I'd never had any complaints about anything for 17 years, and all of a sudden, all at once, something happened.
Lies!
Jason, tell me how you feel.
Okay, I feel very strongly about this. First one, Savannah Guthrie's face when she was just like, okay, Ellen. I mean, Savannah's like the consummate professional journalist. Here's where the rubber meets the road with Ellen, with me, John, and you guys watching. Ellen, when your name is on the door of the house, it is your job to know how the house is being cleaned, who you're allowing into the house, who you're kicking out of the house, and how the house is, and the energy and the maintenance of the house. There have been rumblings of the toxic environment that Ellen claims she had no idea exists for years in LA. How do I know? I have talked to people who have been inside that house, who have left that house, and have told and it's like with Harvey Weinstein and people who have accused people of sexual assault and or R. Kelly, these different people that have the same story that don't know each other, that have no way of correlating their stories, and they're only telling their most accurate depiction of their account and their experience within that experience. You think, where there's smoke, there is fire. Now, Savannah said, did you feel attacked? And Ellen said, I felt because I was a woman, because I'm successful, because I have this show that it was a bunch of men that were attacking me. That may be true because we don't know what goes on in Ellen's life on that show. But when you have people that, again, are disassociated from each other in that environment saying, well, there's a toxic work environment. I experienced, well, some has said sexual assault, sexual misconduct there, and that's the first time you're hearing about it? No. Also, under the guise of be kind, you know that when you are someone like Ellen DeGeneres, you are a brand, you are a cash cow. What, making $64 million a year for that third contract? $64 million a year. Sure, and on top of that, you've done great work. You've given away $300 million in giveaways, which are awesome. I received a Samsung phone back in the day, it was great. You've also donated millions to charity. No one's saying that your adage of being kind isn't right. But that's a brand that you built to get that money, to stay successful, to have this show stay on the air because you want to have the viewers. So for Ellen to say that she felt attacked, sure, I can understand that because she was canceled for a minute there. And also it came at a time where civil unrest and also racial tensions were very high last year. They were very high and people were like, no, Ellen, you had one job. You were our daytime safe space, and now you're what some people thought were a fraud. So I don't blame her for walking away, and I'm sure it affected her in some capacity because she is human, but I'm not buying it. I think she did know. She had to have known. You have to know. And furthermore, people who have worked there have said that she's a control freak and micromanages. So people who are control freaks and micromanage everything and make sure they're in control of everything within reason.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. Everything that you say seems reasonable. I would say that even if our expectations that you would know what's going on over the course of so many years and literally dozens of former employees saying that it was happening, even if you didn't know, I hated so much about what she said there because there was no acknowledgement that anyone else's experience or feelings mattered. It was entirely about her. I didn't know what it could have been happening and I wouldn't have known. Yeah, but like they're saying it happened. It's not, look, I wanna be real with you. If I had had any idea that it was happening, I would have done something because I value the huge staff that I have and have had for many years that have made all of this possible. And I don't want their lives to be a living hell. There was none of that. There was no acknowledgement that other people's experiences matter at all. Just her, this person who very, very wealthy, as you've said, has had a very cushy gig for a very long time. Some of the coverage, is it possible that it was tainted by some misogyny? It's entirely possible. But it's not like there hasn't been amazing reporting of toxic work environments that met, like for a couple years now, that whole movement was pointing out the horrible environments that men running shows or hosting shows have produced. So I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to say that, like, yes, they got together dozens of former employees and had them lie about you because the reporters are misogynistic. I don't buy that.
Right, they weren't strong-armed or bullied into telling their stories, John. And also you mentioned a great word, experiences, right? Ellen was also called out for complaining about living in her palatial palace on the hill and being disconnected from what everyday Americans were experiencing due to COVID, saying that she was bored and all this stuff. Ellen, and the whole kicker of Ellen is that she has a Netflix special called Relatable. And the thing I find the most egregiously inaccurate and erroneous about Ellen is that she is relatable. I've never found her to be relatable. She was more relatable when she was coming out in Time magazine in 1997 and had her career pretty much ended for standing in who she was back then. I believed Ellen to be the most relatable then. Now I feel like she's just been a victim of Hollywood, and I think she needs to end while you're ahead, Ellen. Do what Oprah did. Get out while you're ahead. That's cool. Be kind someplace else. She's got a huge deal with I think HBO Max now after this to do other stuff. She's still gonna be very much paid and very much money. But as far as this goes, she should have took more. I called it. She was gonna come back for season 18 and give this mea culpa, and we were gonna buy it. She said nothing about everything that happened all summer. It was gonna save it for the premiere. She did. People bought it, but to me it felt like you could have done better. And who am I to say how someone should apologize? I'm not, but I'm just not buying it. I'm sure I'm gonna get flagged and added out on Twitter, but that's okay because I think now more than ever in 2021, on being honest and being authentic and saying, hey, I effed up, you guys. You tell me how to make this better. What can I do? It's a lot better than someone being like, I didn't know. All I wanted to do was just be kind to everyone. I thought that's what was happening. I mean, I gave away Samsung phones and iPhones and cars, and I flew people to Disneyland, and Mickey showered them with pixie dust. But I guess that's just not enough. I didn't know. I'm not buying it, Ellen DeGeneres. I'm sorry.
I agree. But I think we're gonna have to leave it there because we are running low on time. I will say that I do have high hopes for the Jason emoji because they ran a poll on Twitch if the Rudy Giuliani's scalp melting emoji should be taken out so that there can be a Jason, and the results were like 87 to 13. So first of all, the 13% of you, in the words of Edwin, dicks. But the rest of you, thank you for voting in favor of having the Jason emoji. And Jason, it is always a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Always a pleasure to be here, you guys. Thank you so much, John, for having me. And again, I didn't mean to get so emotional earlier when we're talking about the insurgents.
Never a problem.
Yeah, but it's just like I think people that are watching would understand that, people matter. People matter and lives matter, and we're all just trying. Every day we're fighting so hard. So we're fighting so hard, John, incredibly hard for so little. So as Ellen says, and I truly believe this: be kind to one another and take care of one another.
Exactly. I think you should take up that mantle.
Hey, look, John. Hey, you can be my sidekick. I'll pay you.
I'll take it.
Millions a year. You, the dog,
I can get a portion.
We can all come and be on the same show.
Yeah. Okay, man. Have a good day.
All right, later.
Let's see. Before we close this thing off, I see a message here in the Twitch section from Bart who says, "At first I was thinking, yay, I'm gonna get a free donut at Krispy Kreme for being vaccinated. Went over to Krispy Kreme, then a sudden feeling of emotion hit me of the larger picture on how certain parts of the world would be so lucky to get a shot, and my dumb ass is getting a donut. So I decided not to get the donut, not because of my overwhelming feeling of connection to the human race, but because the line was long. Life is too short for standing in lines. I don't think I need a gold star or a donut for getting vaccinated. I'll take the benefit of being alive." That was really going to a beautiful place there, Bart, and then it went somewhere else. Thank you. Anyway, over on Twitch, Maria Hall gifted a tier 1 sub, as did Brandy Lou and Green Dragon. Minnesota Patior gifted one as well, and Cherish did as well. Thank you to all of you. Thank you also to Mary, who converted from a Prime Gaming sub to a tier 1 sub. They're very nice of you. Nos Custodimos subscribed for 5 months. Tangelarine for 3 says, "Love the show. I've learned so much about this country actually works. Politicians, media, citizens, corporations, and who actually has power. We the people have power to positively change our local areas." Agreed. And thank you for watching. Thank you too to Bookish Dragon, who subscribed for the 4th month. Let's see. I did want to let you know about a special opportunity with the 3 minutes that we have left. We are continuing our partnership with Aspiration, who we've heard a lot about on our network. And in this, TYT is giving away $500 gift cards to 10 Aspiration account holders that they can redeem at a select member of the Conscience Coalition. Conscience Coalition is a group of companies that are committed to clean energy and sustainability, including companies that you might recognize like Warby Parker, who actually made my glasses, Reformation, Mir, and Imperfect Foods. So how do you get one of those cards? No, you don't have to go watch Ellen. All you have to do is open an Aspiration account. If you're already an Aspiration customer and you signed up for Aspiration from TYT, then you can swipe your debit card 10 times between May 10th to June 15th to be automatically entered. And 10 randomly selected winners will each receive a $500 gift card to a Conscious Coalition member of their choice. Go to tyt.com/win to learn more. So many of you I know are already with Aspiration. Others, feel free to sign up, and then you just use your card and you get a good chance of getting that $500 gift card to a number of great companies. So that is certainly an opportunity for you. I'm gonna be seeing if maybe I can get one because I actually need some new glasses. But anyway, no, obviously I'm not eligible. But feel free to look into that. I think we have time for just a couple of quick super chats. Raja says, "Hey John and Jason, we love you, but Jason, your smile is disturbing my force." I don't recognize that, but thank you for the super chat. Lawrence Wells says, "Sample dragon food, Pop-Tart. As I was listening, blueberry flavor, not frosted. Like the crust, not keen on the filling. We'll try strawberry next. Waiting for my dragon tea to cross the Atlantic, the green dragon actually." By the way, thank you for that. We got a super chat about somebody had taken my recommendation for the Fruit Loops Pop-Tarts and said it's the best, and it is kind of the best. I would consider it. It is not in the Conscious Coalition, by the way, but very good products. Anyway, that said, thank you everybody. I'm gonna be speaking with Dave Leventhal about the new #1 fundraiser in the Republican Party. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but I think you know in your gut who it is. So that interview will be coming out soon. Definitely look for that. Dave Leventhal is a massive friend of the show. So we'll have that up soon. And until then, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.